jump in this thing and see what it'll do.
You ready to rock this, bro?
Oh, hell yeah. Yeah. So badassness. Well, this is Smurf, what we're inside right now, and this car is in need of some work. We're going to take this car on a road trip to the Van Nuys show in LA, and before I can even think about taking it there, I'm going to rob Patina's old transmission. Actually, it's a new transmission rebuilt. I'm going to put it in this car with a stall converter, and then the suspension on this car is junk, so I need to redo the suspension, and I need to put disc brakes on this thing because the drums are squealing so bad and it pulls, and I've adjusted them several times and they're just worn out. So the car's gonna get some upgrades. Oh, it needs a sway bar too. It's got a sway bar on it now, but it needs a bigger one. Like, no hands, let go of the steering wheel. See it? And it's not the brakes doing that. What's doing that is the right front suspension. It's so, the bushings are so worn out that when I hit the brakes, the right front wheel pulls backwards, throwing a whole bunch of negative caster in it, causing the car to turn right. And so every time and then the car is cold right now, so the brakes are not squealing, and it's not pulling to the right as bad. But when you drive this thing after about a half hour, oh, it pulls, it squeals. So we're just gonna rip all that junk off and just throw some goodie parts on this thing, rebuild the suspension, bigger sway bar, make it more fun to drive, actually more drivable. Because right now, I'm so used to how bad this car handles that every time I come to the stop sign, I just kind of pull to the left because I know it's gonna pull to the right. So, but other people are gonna be driving this car, friends of mine, when we drive this thing up to Van Nuys, so I need to kind of fix that stuff. Well, it's parked. I'll get it up in the air, start ripping all the suspension off this thing, and put new goodies on it. So, see you in a little bit. Well, time to just get at it. So, first thing, rip the wheels off. Ah, look at all these goodies. These are all going to be thrown into the Smurf. So we got here some SSBC 4-piston disc brakes. Reason I got these is that right there. Made in USA. No Chinese garbage. And it's all stainless steel. It's like a copy of the original 68, 69 Charger 4-piston disc brakes. But it's all good shit. Got their non-slotted cross-drilled rotors. I have the slotted cross-drilled rotors for Patina, but this car, just gonna put those ones on there. I should have opted to the stainless steel brake lines, but I didn't. Again, I was originally gonna use these brakes on the green 68, which that one's kind of a slow 318, just all around good daily driver. This one's more badassness. Oh, did it just die? Nope, we're still going. So, gonna put all that into this. So I need to rip off the drum brakes, which these work fine. I've adjusted them several times, and I don't really have any problems with them. But I'm gonna go ahead and upgrade to the good shit. We're gonna get rid of these stock upper control arms. We're gonna be putting better shocks on it. We're gonna be rebuilding the lower control arms. Gonna be putting new strut bushings up front, and we're gonna be putting tubular upper control arms, which have more caster built into them, so that way the car will handle better and be more stable at higher speeds. We're also going to be ripping out that transmission because that transmission slips pretty good. Not in gear, but in between gears when you're shifting, it just slips really bad. So I can't even speed shift. I can't even race the thing because it won't shift when you're at wide open throttle. And nothing really to the motor. Actually, the motor runs really good, so not really going to change anything with the motor. But we are going to be getting rid of the drum master cylinder, and we're going to be getting rid of the power brakes. I don't really need power brakes. The green car doesn't have power brakes. The General E doesn't have power brakes, and it works great. Don't need power brakes. So we're going to rip that out, which actually getting rid of those two things is probably going to save me about 30 pounds. So that'd be nice. What I really want to do is get rid of these manifolds. I have new exhaust for it, but I don't know if I'm going to be doing that right now. I might. I'll just have to see how far I get. But I do have new headers for it. But, see, here we go. Here's the new aluminum master cylinder. Here's the bushings to replace the suspension that's worn out. Got the bigger sway bar. Got the adjusters for, or the bushing ends for it. Here's the conversion kit for the manual brakes. Here's the conversion plate for the aluminum master cylinder. This is actually a Raybestos. It's off of a I think an 80s Dakota or something like that. So Moe POWA sells a little adapter plate to use that. So yeah, I have another set of spindles out back that we're gonna just bolt these on and use those guys. Maybe I'll get the new spindles powder coated, I don't know. But I just want to get this car to where it's a better driver. It drives good now, but I mean, like if you saw the video, it pulls to the left. It pulls to the right. And actually, it pulls right really good. The video didn't do the car justice when how bad it pulls. I mean, if I'm at speed coming to a stoplight, it thing just wants to jerk to the right really bad. So, gonna fix all that. Would be nice to throw some horsepower at this thing, but I will be doing that with the headers. So the headers will probably add about 25 horse this thing, because these stock manifolds are pretty restrictive. Because this motor actually does make about 500 horse. Ported heads. It's got the Elbrock Torker intake manifold, Holly carb. It's got a choppy little cam in it, and it's 440 cubic inches. So 440 cubic inches with all those goodies. Put a header behind it. It should make pretty damn good power. Because at top end right now, those stock manifolds are kind of choking it a little bit. Plus, it'll sound way more manly with headers. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and start ripping this thing apart. Here we go. I got the lower control arms here in the back of the truck. Actually gonna take those down to the shop, use the press and press the old bushings out, put the new bushings in. I gotta take this old girl down there anyway, because I got to spray the frame rails and the roof structure and all that stuff to preserve the metal. So while I'm there, I'll go ahead and do these guys. These bushings are screwed. And yes, this is the only newer vehicle I have, and actually it's still like, 14 years old. The only reason I have this is because my grandfather gave it to me. So I really appreciate the truck. It actually comes in real handy. It is a very nice truck too, but I like driving my older Moe POWAs. So anyway, to the shop. Well, another day, back to ripping the old girl apart. So, what I need to do now is, I need to get the master cylinder off, I need to get the brake booster off, and I got to convert this over to manual brakes with the aluminum master cylinder, just the Raybestos one. So, I'm going to get started on just ripping that off. And, let's see, I really would like to get the manifolds off today, but I don't know if I got enough time, because I gotta make money. So, we'll just see how far I get. Alright, so one thing I should note out is the brake pedal in this car has always felt a little weird, just kind of spongy a little bit, even with the brakes bled. And all the bolts on them, or all the nuts on the master cylinder were loose. And, of course I haven't had this car very long, but if you look under here, there's supposed to be a top bolt, or a top stud up there. there's also a top stud missing on the other side. So it only has the 2 bolts, or the 2 nuts on the bottom holding the brake booster on. So when you hit the brake pedal, the brake booster flexes, which then the master cylinder flexes, and then the bolts on the nuts on the master cylinder will loose. So the brakes in this thing weren't right to begin with. So at least I'm doing all this, so now it'll be much better. And faster too, it'll be a little bit lighter. So let me go ahead and rip this sucker out of here. All right, now that the whole brake booster's out, this plate here is for a brake booster. I need to drill it so I can put a manual pedal assembly, or a manual master cylinder on it. All right, so I got the plate off, and I need to drill here. I need to open this up, and I'm gonna have to fill in probably about a good chunk of this hole, actually. Yeah, I gotta fill in that much. So, nothing to do but get to it. Welding. Yeah? Making pretties. That looks pretty.
What does that do?
I'm welding in a hole.
Oh, looks good, baby.
Converting it from power brakes to manual brakes. Because I'm a tough guy.
You tough guy. It looks really clean.
And now, I need to drill a hole.
You're a hole.
You're a hole. Aha. All right, so it's another day. Yesterday was kind of a rainy day, so I didn't get to do a whole lot. But today, I'm gonna be putting the master cylinder on. I got all the parts to do it now. I had to go get a little fitting real quick, an adapter fitting. I'd rather have just gotten the correct fitting to go from 9/16 threads to 3/16 hole, but locally I couldn't get it, so this will work just fine. I've already got the correct fitting for the rear line. Oh, actually, that's for the front. What else have we got here? I already got my plate mounted to, I've taken the original mounting bracket plate for the brake booster, modified it so that way it'll be now for manual brakes. I had to take this and I had to use the hole saw, cut out a plate, and then TIG that in. I had to drill 2 new holes here, and then I countersunk these 4, and then put countersunk bolts in it. I went and bought real quick. So it's a lot cleaner look now. So I can go ahead and put this guy in here. All right. Now I need to make some brake lines and hook up the linkage inside the car. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started on that. Well, I got my first problem here. So this is no fitte. So we're gonna have to throw this on the Redneck CNC machine. Well, yet again, another day. Now that I have got the line lock and the new brake lines all in place with the new master cylinder, it's time to rip these horsepower robbing junk ass cast iron manifolds off this thing. Yeah, they're the HP manifolds, but they're still junk. So, got some of the exhaust cut out. Gonna get rid of the junk starter. This is the big old honky boat anchor starter. Gonna put a mini starter on it. So, what's up, kitty? What's up, Lightning? All right, well, rip the sucker off here now. Well, about an hour later, maybe an hour and a half, we got a header in the car. A header, I still gotta do the other side, but this was kind of a bitch. So instead of you watching all the swearing and the what the effing and why won't this fit, and people on the YouTube channel commented and saying, oh, just tilt the motor and drop it in through the top. That don't work. No, maybe if you had tiny primary headers it would work, but no, not with big primary headers. So they're in now, and also depends on how they're designed on the bottom, but yeah, it's in. Now I'm going to try and tie this into the exhaust. I might just make a new exhaust because that's 2.5 inch. These are 3 inch manly headers. So Yeah, I might just build a whole new exhaust system for it. Yep. Oh well. Now I gotta rip the other side off. Sam. She's an attention whore. Ugh. Alright, alright. Well, got the whole SSBC stuff here ready to go. Starting to assemble it right now. This is all for Smurf 69RT. The lower control arms, I had those sandblasted, then I welded the stiffening plates to them, which I actually made these plates, and then I epoxied them and I painted them a cast iron color. I'm just waiting for the battery paint to show up so that way I can, or it's a battery protector paint, Krylon. So I'm gonna mask off the top portion of the control arm and then spray the rest of it in a battery protector paint, which makes it look like factory Cosmoline. And then we got these lightweight bad boys right here. Initially I was gonna put the cast iron ones on here, but I swapped it out and I was like, yeah, I'll put the aluminum ones on here. So we just lightened the car up a little bit by putting the aluminum master cylinder on it, getting rid of the brake booster, we put the headers on it. Probably switch over to an aluminum radiator next. And then with this whole setup here, that'll lighten it up pretty good too. So I'm not, I'm not using the factory strut rod for the control arms. I have an adjustable Heim joint style strut rod setup that I ordered. That should be here any day now. So when my tubular uppers show up, which I had QA1s, but then I switched it out to a different one. So when my new uppers show up and when my new adjustable lower strut rods show up, I can go ahead and throw all the suspension on it. Yeah, I can make the strut rods and I can make the tubular uppers, but I got so much other stuff going on right now. I just, for the $286 it was to buy them, just buy them. So I'm just gonna go ahead and assemble this stuff real quick and show you when it's done. Alrighty. Guess what sounds a lot more manly now? None of this restrictive crap anymore. Fire this thing up. Yeah! Look at that. Hey! Now the Smurf's all good to go, all new suspension, new brakes, it's time to go get the gang together. I think we'll let Mike Carson take the General. It needs a little bit of work, but I did change the oil. So, they can't complain too much. They got fresh oil. May handle like shit, but it'll get them there. So we have Mike. Then we got Karsten. And Leonard. All right. All right, time to pick him up. Here we go. Smurf here ready to tear it up on the autocross track with her new exhaust, headers, all new suspension. Should be pretty damn fun. So we got our little GoPro set up on the seat, air pressures or whatever the hell they are. Just gonna go send it, have fun. That's what it's all about. If you're not having fun, don't do it. All right, almost up soon.
saw that last one look good. I'm digging it. All right. Go for it.
Sound pretty good?
It does. So what'd you do to it?
Headers, full exhaust, high pipe,
Still got the same engine in it though.
yes.
Yeah? Did you replace the rocker gear? Or is it the same stuff?
Same stuff. Same one you gave me.
Cool. Hell yeah.
Fun?
It is. Yeah. Yeah, that's a friggin' blast as far as I'm concerned.
You ready to rock this road?
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.